and the electoral literacy cell, which is established in our institute, to organize such a kind of the lecture or webinar to create the awareness on the right to vote, to strengthening the democracies are concerned. I'm very happy to our institute has organized such a kind of the institute and program, which creates an awareness among the students, among all the stakeholders, that how your vote matters, how the right to vote is also your right, how we can strengthen our democracy while giving our important vote and to elect the leaders. So what about the aspects about this right to vote are concerned? Why we celebrated the National Voters Day? What is the objectives behind the celebration of the National Voters Day? And what are the significance? What is the current theme in the present scenario as far as the Voters Day are concerned? So we will discuss today as a part of an awareness program as far as electoral literacies are concerned among the students, among the faculties, among the other stakeholders. So I will share the screen to discuss more elaborately on the right to vote. Just 1 minute, I will share the screen. Yes, it's visible to all. Yes.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, okay, sir. Yes, no.
Not it.
No, sir.
Just 1 minute. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, so see, as far as the we can say in a very brief manner, is NVD National Voters Day. So on 25th January 2022, we are celebrating the 12th National Voters Day, and the theme of this present year to make the elections, as far as the theme of the in this 2022 National Voters Day is to make the elections inclusive, to make the elections inclusive, accessible, and participative. To make the election inclusive, accessible, and participative. Why these three words are selected for the National Voters Day celebration? Because the inclusive, it means to include all stakeholders, to include all the peoples, to cast their vote. What is accessible? It means it should be accessible. Right to vote must be accessible easily to the public. Why the word come participative? Why the word participative is included in the present theme for the National Voters Day? It appeals to all the publics. Please participate in the election process. Please participate in Voters Day. Give your important vote, which select the rightful leader. So that is, we can say that present year theme, which is celebrated today on 25th January 2022, to make the election inclusive, accessible, and participative. Then how this National Voters Day is observed? In what manner the National Voter Day is observed? So this day is solely and completely dedicated to the voters of the country. I hope am I audible to all properly? Yes, my voice is clear.
Yes, sir, you are audible properly.
Okay. So this during this National Voters Day is dedicated to the voters of the country. So voter is the prime importance. So peoples are educated. The basic motto, the basic objective of this National Voters Day is to educate and to encourage the participant in the voting process. For what purpose? Just to choose the right leader for the country. To choose the right leaders for the country. So to educate the public, to appeal the public to participate in the voting process, to choose, because your vote matters. It choose the rightful leaders for the country. So those who are new voters, they are felicitated. They are handed the EPIC card, that is electoral photo identity card, EPIC. During this National Voters Day, we can say that's why to create an awareness, to educate the public, that how your vote is important, why voting is important, why your vote matters, because it choose the rightful leaders for the country. As far as the India is a democratic country in the world, largest democratic country in the world. As far as the election process are concerned, free and fair election is a basic feature. So election process must be transparent. So for that purpose, the National Voters Day celebration is due to the observance of a foundation day of the Election Commission of India. As the Election Commission of India is an independent but constitutional body. Under Article 324 of the Constitution of the India, the ECI as the Election Commission of India has given a status. They are engaged in the whole election process. They launch various programs, because when they observe that there is a large turnout, about the number of voters are there, number of people are there, they do not want to cast their important vote. Not only in India, other countries as well facing such kind of the problems. They do not want to choose the rightful leaders for their own country. So this initiative is taken. As far as, at least during this day, we can create an awareness programs, awareness campaigns. How to educate the public? Please cast their vote. Please choose their rightful leaders. So that's why even the new voters who want to enter, various programs are launched by the Election Commission of the India to issue the EPIC card in the National Voters Day as are concerned. If you see just I mentioned the historical backgrounds, how it started. So 25th January is the foundation day of the Election Commission of India. It came into existence or functioning actually in 1950. The first time the national level voters day, it was celebrated in 2011 to encourage the young voters. Please take part in electoral process. Understand its uses. Understand your priority what matters a large. So it is the day. This is the National Voters Day to celebrate the right to vote, because it's a part and parcel of democracy of the India. When we can say our democracy is the largest democratic country in the world. So naturally we have a constitution. We have our own constitution of the India. And one of the basic features also mentioned as a right to vote, as far as the constitutional norms are concerned. And that's why, to mark the memory of the foundation day of the Election Commission of India, and to create a awareness among the peoples, to encourage the voters to take part the electoral process, your vote matters, it select the rightful leaders for the country. And that's why this day was celebrated, it's celebrated as a national level voters day. So as a democracy of the country, as a democracy of the India, Just I mentioned the basic law of the land is your constitution. Basic law of the India is the constitution of the India, which lays down all the process, constitutional status to the Election Commission of India. And under that articles, they are celebrating as a National Voters Day. As a National Voters Day. Now, one more, if you visit the Election Commission of India site, one more process is found to create an awareness among the public as far as the voting rights are concerned and right to vote are concerned. They establish one club, that is Electoral Literacy Club, in the form of SVEEP, strengthening the voters' education and electoral process. Core committees are established at the state and the district level. They appoint the nodal officers also at the state and district level just to create awareness among the voters, among the public. Even at the college campus level, they elect the campus ambassador also. Because they mention election is free and fair. Free and fair election is a important benchmark as far as the India countries are concerned. So they make a survey, they make a preparation of action plan. They make a district level plans. They drop the monitoring policies, take the feedbacks also. They allocate the resources. They chalk out the activities in upcoming calendar years. They appoint some students at the educational institutions, government departments, even the youth organizations like NSS, NCC, even media houses, they appoint the students ambassadors. Just we are taking a very nice initiative by establishment of a electoral literacy cell. It's a good initiative to generate among the some values. We are also a part of the democratic country like India. We are also responsible, our vote also responsible to elect the rightful leaders. So they try to bridge the gender gap. They try to overcome the youth disconnect, because number of times the younger generation does not want to cast their vote. There is a very apathic educations to the casting their votes. So they try to participate this process. They try to participate these electoral literacy clubs. They create awareness. They intervene for participation. Mostly in the tribal areas are concerned, which are also marginalized sections of the societies are also concerned. So they try to prepare, they try to chalk out the programs, they try to appoint the leaders also, publics also, students leaders also, just to encourage the public, what are the voting rights are there, how your vote matters, how you can select the rightful leaders of the country. So these all processes are also mentioned as this is the new institutes in the form of an electoral literacy club, ELC, under the heading of an Election Commission of India department. Significance again, I mentioned that the voting system is a backbone of the country. Unless and until if you are not vote your rightful leaders, so no any rightful persons come in the powers. It is because only of the voting system people can choose the leader. It is the power in the hands of the public. They can choose which rightful person, which rightful leaders they want to run the country. So every citizen, every Indian citizen has the basic right to vote. Has a basic right to vote just to strengthen the electoral democracy. Because if we do not come forward and choose the rightful leaders, so naturally the progress of the country is hampered. It completely stopped. The development of the country, it depends on who rule the country. No doubt we have a constitution of the India, but only having a constitution of the India is not sufficient. what is important, on whose hands that constitution is there. Because the constitution of the India lays down the powers, the rules, the principles governing the political structure among the government, executives, parliament, how they can run, how they can function. So if you cannot choose the rightful leaders which you want, naturally the policies can be different. But today's scenarios are very different, situations are there. Vote buying is a dangerous, we can say, is a great menace, great threat to the society. We, the people of the India, is the whole and sole power to elect the rightful person, and this given only through the voting rights. When you can exercise your right to vote, and that vote can be given to the rightful leader without any religion, without any caste, without any money, without any discrimination. So naturally that rightful leaders can really look out for the public rights. So that's why this National Voters Day, it should encourage the younger generations to participate and build a strong network for the upcoming generations. So they cast the vote without fail. They understand the voting rights. They cast their important vote in such a way they can choose the rightful leaders, but without any pressure, without any compulsion, without any fear, without any gratification. This is the motto, this is the objective. That's why the theme of these National Voters Day 2022 is mentioned as a accessible and participative. Our government must be a participative government. The governance must be run in a participation manner. So in every mechanism, people must participate. So this is the, we can say, a very powerful right. This power can be given to the public, to the people, to the Indian citizen, to choose who want to run the country, to choose on under whom they want to govern. So for that purpose, the awareness programmation, kindly aware your power and cast your votes. Now, why should we vote India? If number of the publics are there, if we can ask questions to the present generation, they mention, why should we vote in India? What we can get? What we can get, why we should vote in India? So first of all, I want to highlight here some of the reasons why should we vote in India. It's our right. Right to vote. Our parliament and legislatures, they are of the people, by the people, and for the people. We have adopted the parliamentary form of government. India adopted the parliamentary form of government. As far as if you compare Indian government system with the outside country, America have a presidential form of government. As far as our parliament is responsible. So that's why they are of the people, by the people, and for the people. And voting is a constitutional right. We have a privilege to cast our vote. We take it for granted, but the Constitution has given us the right to elect who we want and who we want to make the changes in our system. It is our constitutional right. That's why we should vote in India, because our parliamentary house is a cabinet. They are responsible for the people. They are accountable to the people. So people choose who want in the parliament. People choose who want to be a great leader to make the changes, necessary changes as per the needs of the society. That's why they should vote in India. Next, what are the other reasons? Is the voters can act as a one catalyst or agent for change. Sometimes your single vote can change. Your vote can play an important part in making the changes. Because if you are unhappy with the current government, naturally you can vote for a better one. You can act as a catalyst to change the government. So much power is given to you. I hope am I audible to all? My voice is clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's why I mentioned, why should we vote? Because you act as a one of the catalysts, you act as a one agent, as a responsible citizen, your vote matters. It is in your hands. If you think the present government is not as per the needs of the society, you can change the government. Your single vote matters. That's why the third reason I mentioned, why should we vote in India? Your vote counts. Your vote counts. Every vote counts. And that responsibility lies on every individuals. And for that purpose, when the questions came in the courts of the law, those people who mentioned that if we do not want to cast a vote to any political parties, we can say right to reject also a right? When the questions or issues came in the courts of the law, if right to vote is also a constitutional right, can we say right to reject, or we do not want to cast a vote to any other of the political parties? Can we do so? That questions came a number of times, and the court mentioned, yes, every vote counts. You also have a right to reject, to vote any of the political parties. And for that purpose, now what came nota, which stands for none of the above. Right to reject. I do not want to cast any political party. I do not want to give vote to any above political parties. So that's why none of the above came. And it's important vote to cast. This is also one of the important steps to cast for those who are not satisfied by any of the parties who are standing for election. Why this also given to you, right? Because we have a democratic country. We have a right. All those things are mentioned in the Constitution of the India itself. We have a basic law of the land. That's why the very preamble of the Constitution mentioned, we the people of India, means the ultimate source belongs to the people. So if any person mentioned, I do not satisfy with the above political parties, I do not want to give the vote to any person, so you can click the nota. If you see the last year statistics, election statistics as far as the nota votings are concerned, it is increasing day by day. The graph is reaching higher level. Means people are using nota as a priority. Some of the constituency, they are not satisfied. Those who are nominated to stand as a candidate for election, they are not satisfied their work. So our constitution also given, yes, this is also a right to reject. If you are not satisfied with the person who are standing as a candidate for election in particular constituency, you can use the nota. None of the above. Means this right is also given to the public. If you have a right to vote, you even have a right to reject. That's why you should vote in India. These are the some prominent reasons where we can give some voting rights to the public. As far as the Constitution of the India is concerned, as far as the constitutional status of the right to vote is concerned, which is a very prominent parameter for strengthening a electoral democracy, Article 326 is an important one. Article 326 is embodied with a procedure of electing the members of House of the People. even electing the members of the legislative assemblies. But on what basis that election of the members of the Lok Sabha or House of the Peoples, we can say, or Vidhan Sabha, or we can say the legislative assemblies, we can say, they should be on the basis of a adult suffrage. And as far as the salient features of the Constitution of the India are concerned, adult suffrage is one of the feature under the Constitution of the India. It means that every person who is a citizen of the India, every person who is a citizen of the India and who is not less than 18 years of age, he shall be entitled to be registered as a voter in any such election. That is meaning of adult suffrage. That is the meaning of a adult suffrage, the constitutional status. So the constitutional status as far as the right to vote are concerned, which is given to the voters, which is given to the people or the Indian citizens, that is given by Article 326 of the Constitution of the India. Just I mentioned, we have a parliamentary form of government which includes your Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, mentioned House of the People, Council of States. At the state level, we have a Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad. We can say as a legislative assembly. So for election, as far as the Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha or House of the Peoples are concerned, every 5 years we have a right to elect the leader. Once in a 5 years, we have to cast the vote. So you have a right, what you had chosen last year of the leader of the country, if you think, it depends on you. Can you want to vote that, or we can do the another vote? But the voting rights, as far as the 61st Amendment of the Constitution of the India, is a great impact on the eligibility criteria of a voting rights. Because this 61st Amendment reduced the 18 years is the minimum age to have a voting rights in India. I hope I'm audible to all. My voice is clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So Article 326 is the prominent article as far as the voting rights are concerned. Those who have attained the 18 years of age, they shall be entitled to be registered as a voter at any such election. Already this age is 21 years, but 61st Amendment is made which reduces the age to 18 years. And as far as how to implement the election process, how to implement or how you can exercise the voting rights. So for that purpose, one independent constitutional bodies are set up. That independent constitutional body under Article 324 is mentioned about the Election Commission of India. So the function of the Election Commission of India is to monitor, to supervise, to give directions about the implementation, procedure, electoral, make the electoral rolls, constituencies, distribution of symbols for elections, some lay down code of conduct. So all those things is the function of the Election Commission of India. It's an independent body, it's a now multifunction body. They look out, they lay down the code of conduct, they lay down the rules. So as far as the constitutional parameters, everything is connected to your Constitution of the India, because it is supreme law of the land in India are concerned. It lays down the powers, principles, limitations, code of conduct of all the organs of the country, as executive, parliament, judiciary also. No one is above the constitution. So as far as India is concerned, no one is supreme in India, only the Constitution of the India is supreme, because everything can be run as per the constitutional philosophy. That's why the voting rights also as per the constitutional philosophy. You must exercise your right to vote as per the constitutional norms. Now questions can come. Can voting be a choice of citizens? Questions can come. Can voting be a choice of the citizens? See, in number of the, if you compare Indian country with the other countries, some of the countries make compulsory voting. So compulsory voting is there in some other countries like Australia. Australia mandates compulsory voting at the national level. If any person does not want to cast their vote, there is a penalty, there is a punishment in the form of some fine. So Australia mandates make a compulsory voting for their public. If anyone cannot cast their voting, naturally they have some form of fine as a punishment, as a penalty. Not only in Australia, but even the several countries which are observed in the South America, which includes Brazil, Argentina, even Bolivia, they all have a provision of compulsory voting. Compulsory voting is, it is a mandate. You should compulsorily vote. Otherwise, we suffer some form of penalty. But as far as only democratic countries like UK, Britain, USA, Germany, Italy, France, they have a voluntary voting. They have a voluntary voting system. They have a choice. As far as the Austria is concerned, is the first European Union nation to allow the voting at age of 16. Austria is one of the first European Union nation. They given the right to vote at the age of 16. 16. Even recently in 2015, Saudi Arabia, they also grant women have a right to vote. They have a just grant right to vote to the woman in Saudi Arabia. So see the comparison in other countries, so how the other countries are so aware as far as their basic right to vote are concerned. But they given very stretch. They mention if you are not exercise your basic right to vote, they have to suffer some form of punishment. The infringement in violation of voting rights in other countries suffers a penalty. Only in democratic countries we have a choice. We have a choice of voluntary voting. But now other countries taken severe actions if you not exercise your voting rights. So see how we can say the gravity of right to vote as a basic norm, basic right of the citizens. How the other governments, how the foreign countries' governments given so much importance to right to vote, which is not as far as still in India is concerned. But every country is moving that way. Even just I mentioned in Bolivia, where there is a compulsory voting, they mention where there is no voting, no many persons cast vote, their salary is freeze. See in Bolivia, where no voting is given by any citizen, if any person is not agreed to go and vote and select the rightful leaders for his nation, his salary is freeze. So there is a compulsory voting policy. So Bolivia country introduced the compulsory voting law in 1952, which requires all citizens must cast a ballot. All citizens must cast a ballot. So see other countries, if even those who are employed, who are working in organizations, if they are not ready to cast their important vote to select the rightful leaders, his salary can be freezed. This is the action from the Bolivian government. And that's why they introduced the compulsory voting. As far as the Indians are concerned, that attempts also made to pass the compulsory voting bill in 2004 as a private member bill. In India also, compulsory voting bill is also tried to make compulsory in 2004. They tries to be introduced and make a mandate that every Indian citizens shall compulsorily vote or cast a vote and select the rightful leaders for their country. But that bill is debated and it is not passed because the oppositions and the other members in the parliamentary house, they mentioned that we have a democratic country. You cannot compel to anyone in India. You cannot compel the Indian citizens to do particular things because we have a democracy. We have a Constitution of India. We have a fundamental rights. So every person has a right as a speech and expression and to choose and to reject. So that bill is debated in the parliamentary house, but it is not passed. That's why presently, our constitution allows adult has a choice to vote. Why it's a choice? Because it's a part of democracy. Why our Indian government does not yet to pass a compulsory mandate to cast a vote? Why the present government, or we can say in India, are concerned? I hope I'm audible to all. Yes, my voice is clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, other students. Yes, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So as far as if we compare the Indian government with the other countries like Bolivian, if India also tries to make non-voting candidates to salary freeze, so what can happen? It is not possible or not trying to be done in India because we have a democratic country. We have a constitution of the India. Every Indian citizen has some kind of the freedoms. We have a fundamental rights. Our constitution of the India is the supreme law in India. Whatsoever can be done, kindly check with the constitutional norms. That's why still we have a choice to right to vote. We have a choice to right to vote. It's a voluntary kind of voting. Still also you have no compulsion on you to go and vote. If you see the turnaround ratio, those people who do not cast a vote, see the statistics, last year statistics on the Election Commission of India sites, websites. You get an idea, number of the voters or number of the people who have a EPIC card, voters ID, all those things are there, but do not want to cast a vote. They do not want to exercise their basic right to vote. They do not want to select the rightful leaders. So that's why even till we have a choice to select. So that's why this objective of this National Voter Day is please make the right choice. If as a democratic country like India, which gives you a choice, so kindly exercise your rightful choice, not only choice. Choose the rightful leaders. Those leaders who observe the constitutional philosophy, who try to protect the rights of the people, who try to protect the rights of the marginalized sections of the public, who tries to protect the rights of the farmers, rights of the women, every walk of life, who always observe the constitutional norms. So make the rightful choice. That is the basic motto. That is the basic objectives we can say. And the part of a National Voters Day, they want to convey. Now, number of the, I want to highlight some two important court case, Supreme Court judgments. The questions or the issue which came up number of times, whether the right to cast a vote in election, whether a right to cast a vote in election is a fundamental right under the Constitution of India, or it's merely a statutory kind of a right. So this kind of the issues are came up or faced by the some case. So Honorable Supreme Court of the India, which is the apex court in India, or I can say it is the guardian of the protection of the rights of the people. In 2003, in one case, People's Union for Civil Liberties versus Union of India. People's Union for Civil Liberties is even NGO. They filed a public interest litigation in 2003. And in this case, court mentioned right to vote is a constitutional right. Right to vote is a constitutional right. It flows from the Constitution of the India. Because Article 326 mentioned every person, every citizen of India who has attained 18 years of age has a right to vote. It's a universal franchise. So apart from this right to vote as a constitutional right, which other rights the voters also has a right? In 2002, in Union of India versus Association for Democratic Reforms, it mentions that every voter who wants to cast a vote has a right to know the background, to know the antecedents of a candidate, whether that candidate who was as a standing for the election, his information, every voter has a right to get the information. Which kind of information? As a voter, you have a right, whether he has any criminal background, what's their educational qualification, what's their assets, what's their liabilities. So right to know is a part and parcel as a part of voters' right. So every voter has a right to know about the educational qualification, any criminal background, assets, liabilities of the person, of the candidate who are standing for the election in your constituency. That is given by the Supreme Court of India in 2002. So right of the voters, right to know, right to get the information of the candidates who are standing for the election. So these two important Supreme Court judgments which highlights the right to vote is a constitutional right. It flows from the Constitution of the India, and every voter has a right to get the information, right to know the antecedents or the backgrounds, their educational qualification, their assets, their liabilities, their if any backgrounds of a criminality is there, must disclose while filing the nomination forms. So now we are going to which are those laws are there in India? Which are the election laws in India? I hope I am audible to all. My voice is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I hope screen is also visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as far as the election laws, these are the some prominent election laws also there in India, which every constituency can observe. Even the Election Commission of India, as per these rules, they can conduct the elections. Most important is your Representation of the People's Act 1950 and 1951. Famously RPA 1950-1951. Then come registration of the electoral rules 1960. Then Presidential and Vice Presidential Elections Act 1952. Then come Conduct of Election Rules 1961. How the election, which conduct can observe by the candidates, that is mentioned in these rules 1961. Even election symbols, Reservation and Allotment Order 1968. Just we have seen number of political parties have a symbol. It is allotted by these rules. That order is there 1968, which mentioned the reservation and allotment of a symbols, election symbols. Apart from other more laws are there, other more rules and regulations are there, like Delimitation Act 2002. So as per this law, the prominent one is your Representation of the People's Act 1951. Which kind of the offenses are there? as a electoral offenses under your Indian Penal Code. And as far as the Representation of the People's Act 1951 are concerned, I mentioned here, as far as your Indian Penal Code, our Indian Penal Code are concerned, so electoral offenses, or we can say the offenses relating to elections, they are specifically mentioned under section 171A to 171I. This whole group of sections, section 171 capital A to section 171 capital I, this whole group of sections under the Indian Penal Code, which categorize into the election offenses. Here I mentioned bribery, giving some amount of money for casting a vote, undue influence at an election. Some kind of the influencing powers can be imposed. That influence may be any threatening message, pressure, coercive action, personating at an election, personation. You are casting 2 times vote, either as a, we can say one, no, the fictitious name, no imaginary name you can take. 2 times you can cast a vote. Personating at an election is an offense under IPC. Then false statement in connection with an election. While filling any nomination forms, any false statements are made, are submitted. That is an offense. Illegal payments in connection with the elections, or holding public meetings, or other things. You are giving a illegal kind of the payments in connection with elections. It's an offense under IPC. Even failure to keep the election accounts. How much amount of money you are invested in holding the meetings and all kinds of the election, all those things. You should maintain the account. If you're not submit properly, it is an offense. If you see the punishments under this all, mostly the punishment in the form of a 1 year imprisonment and some amount of fine. As far as the Representation of the People's Act are concerned, 1951 Act is a prominent and important election law. Under that also, from section 125 onwards, they mention which are the different kinds of the offenses as a electoral offenses. So they mention that which are the offenses are there under this act. They mention promoting enmity between classes in connection with the elections. As far as the religious issues are concerned, to promote enmity between different classes of the persons, particularly in the case of elections are concerned, is an offense. Then filing false affidavits is an offense under the RP Act. Even as per section 126 of the Representation of People's Act, holding a public meeting during a period of 48 hours, which are aimed with a conclusion of a poll. So when conclusion of poll is there, before that 2 days, if you are hold the public meetings, you are public campaigns, say offense under the RP Act. Restriction on publication and dissemination of result of exit polls. See, exit polls are there. So for publication and dissemination of exit poll is an offense under section 126A of the RPA Act. Offenses by companies, some organizations, some firms are involved doing such kind of the offenses. They are also liable under the punishment under this act. Disturbances at election meetings. Printing of pamphlets, posters without mentioning the name of publisher. When you are distributing a pamphlets or posters, name of the publishers is not mentioned. It's an offense. It's an offense. As far as the section 128 of the Representation of People's Act is a violation of secrecy of voting. So if you are disclosing to whom you are giving the voting, it's an offense. Voting of secrecy, maintain the voting secrecy. If any officer is involved, he tried to influence the voters to cast this vote to only particular leader. So under section 129, it's an offense. This is again the list. Disorder conduct at the polling stations. Misconduct at the polling stations. Failure to observe the voting procedures is an offense. Illegal hiring or procuring of a conveyance of elections. See, number of times during elections, some of the vehicles came to you to reach to destination at the polling station. So illegal hiring and procuring as a conveyance of elections is an offense. Breach of official duty in connection with the elections. Misuse of the government servants is an offense under section 134A of the RPA Act. Going with some arm, with weapons near the polling station. Removal of ballot papers from polling station is an offense. Booth capturing, as per section 135A, is an offense, electoral offense. Non-grant of paid holiday to employees on the day of election. Under section 135B is an offense. If any employer is not given a paid holiday to you when you want to cast your rightful vote to the rightful leaders in your constituency, that employer is liable for the punishment under section 135B. Sale, distribution of liquors, alcohols on polling day is an offense. If there is a fraudulent tampering with nomination papers, ballot boxes, if there is a unauthorized supplying the ballot papers, it's an offense. So these are the electoral offenses under IPC as well as the Representation of the People's Act 1951. Apart from this, there is a model code of conduct also there, which lays down by the Election Commission of India. If still no any persons can observe, that person will be liable for punishment. Okay, so these are the some prominent which we can say as far as the offenses are concerned. Just we are in starting point, we have taken the pledge that we all of the Indian citizens have a faith in our democratic country like India. What we taken to protect the democratic traditions. Why the word come democratic every time? Because we have a largest democratic country in India, where every Indian citizen has some freedoms, some right, which is given by the constitution. There is no compulsion on the Indian citizens. We have to maintain the dignity. We have to maintain the free, fair, and peaceful elections. And that's why this Voters' Day, the objective is to vote, elect the rightful leader fearlessly, without being influenced by any considerations, without any consideration of a religion, caste, community, even language or inducement. So it is apart from the any discrimination, you cast your rightful voter. That's why I appeal on this today's National Voters' Day 2022. I appeal to all students and all faculties, all students. Please try to cast your rightful order to select the rightful choice and rightful leaders. So in concluding remarks, while I concluding this, all those kinds of these today's electoral speech are concerned, I am very thanks to NSS department and our electoral literacy department is concerned. It gives me an opportunity to interact with the students and the faculties. Even our directors also gives me an opportunity to interact, to create an awareness campaign, an awareness speech, awareness program on the today's National Voters' Day 2022 are concerned. I am very thankful to all of them. Thank you to all.
Thank you.
Thank you, respected Bharti sir, for
Yes,
delivering the speech. There is one important announcement prior to the vote of thanks that will be delivered by Ms. Shahin Sheikh. I'm going to announce something with regard to the electoral literacy club, wherein we organize some competitions. And at an university level, one of our students, Ms. Sakshi Gore, from BSc first year, she won first prize in an elocution competitions. Okay, so Kayte sir, please Allow me for screening my sharing my screen with you all. Screen sharing. Okay. I think there is some issue while sharing the screen, but I will share the images and also one of the videos with all of you on GIPSA official group, wherein Sakshi Gore was awarded with a certificate for winning the first prize in the elocution competition. So thank you. Now switch over to Ms. Shahin Sheikh.
Thanks to Bharti sir for sharing your knowledge with us. I express my gratitude towards Director Mr. Khemna sir for granted us permission to arrange this program, and thanks. Thanks to Electro-Literacy Cell and NSA Department of GIPSA for organizing such a knowledgeable and wonderful program. Thanks to all teachers and all students of GIPSA. Now, with permission of Director sir, I announce that today's program is